I'm being selfish in my presentation, and I'm not apologetic about that. There is time to speak about the nation. Today I'm speaking to you, our children in diaspora, and our sisters and brothers. So whoever is here, by default or by plan, you are a member of this society. Listen to this, it is home. Maneno ya nyumbani. Are you hearing that? Maneno ya nyumbani. Leji jine negete den jugo ngalega ko. Can you greet the neighbor next to you? In the maneno ya nyumbani. Jugo ngalega ko. We discovered that our sons and daughters, our brothers and sisters spread all over the world were living in a very difficult situation because of conflict of cultures, and they are interacting with other cultures, and we never prepared them when they were going out. We sold shambas, we raised money, we sent them to America, we sent them to UK, Europe, and we sent them, in fact at that time Australia was not so much frequented, not until a few of us came the other day. And I want to apologize on behalf of all of us who participated in sending you to these foreign countries. We did so without preparing you to meet the new culture. And thank you for being resilient and trying your best to be able to swim, as my young daughters were saying, to be able to swim in a multicultural experience. And you came to Europe that brought the gospel of Christ to Africa and told us to discard our own cultures and traditions because theirs was superior, because it was about the Savior who rose from the dead and is in heaven. We climbed the mountain of their civilization. When we reached at the top of the plateau, we found Wasungus had already left there, and they were spiraling downwards. We don't know where they were going. And they left the Bible and the church and auditorium on the hill, empty of them. Their sons and daughters are not there. We found they have left their religion to oblivion. And we asked ourselves, should we follow them? We discovered that when they taught us about the Old Testament, as they blended an interpretation with the New Testament, the whole of the Old Testament resembled our own ancestral worship. Theirs was better organized, ours was a bit scattered and interfered over time. It confirmed the sayings and legendary sayings of our elders that connected us to the Jew community and culture. Either we are part of the proselytes, or we are part of the lost tribes of Israel, 10 of them, or we were uncles and nieces coming from the family and the lineage of Lot, because those names are common and they are there in our own expressions in our culture. We made a decision that although our brothers and sisters from Europe are no longer on the top of the plateau of the faith they brought to us, in any way, yes, we discovered that faith works anyway. And we say we will not return back, we will maintain that faith, we will sustain our society with it, and we will keep our people together. So largely, over 80% of our community, we are Christian in terms of faith and persuasion. We are Africans believing we are an Afro-Christian community, that God speaks to us through our religion and through our faith. We made a choice that should we be disorganized as a community or we better be organized? We went into analytical attention. Don't mind, I am going to be short. I'm trying to give you a background of some of the few things that I want to share with you. We chose an organized one because sociologists say, and I'm a student of social science, anthropology, psychology, human relations, and so on. I did them in various degrees. Says of a disorganized society, it is said that a state of a society which is disorganized is characterized by a breakdown of effective social control. A disorganized society, because of lack of social control, results in a lack of a functional integration between and amongst groups that exist. Also, it produces what we call a conflicting social attitudes. And finally, it produces a personal maladjustment. People who becomes victim of disorganization lack stability in terms of decision making and choices they make. People who are disintegrated as a society, they lose a very important angle of their lives of identity, and they become victims of identity crisis. Few minutes ago, a young lady was talking up here, and she said there is an increment in mental cases in and amongst our communities. When Europe removed God from their schools, removed God from their parliaments, removed God from their own families, they began to disintegrate as a race. And in few years, they are a minority that is going to cry for protection because they no longer produce children. If you do not have a family, if you do not raise children, then you have no generation that can inherit the system. Many years ago, there was a European scholar and a philosopher, and he said, you know, we have made Europe after World War II a garden. The rest of the world is a jungle. So we received the gospel from the garden, and we have appreciated it. And we have sent our children to the garden to learn how to make a garden so that they can come back to Africa, they can come to Asia, they can come back to South America, they can come back to countries like Caribbean islands where most of our ancestors were taken as slaves, into Pacific where Asians and Africans met and blended, so that we can improve our jungles and make it to be like a European garden. When our sons and daughters came, we discovered the European made a garden, but they forgot to maintain the family. And the families, they are aging as a society, and we are following them soon, very fast. Africa is really lucky. By now, we are 75% young. But the trend we are taking is that in the next 40 years, we will be reversing and following Europe as a dying continent. Ladies and gentlemen, I have come with a message that we need, number one, I have a special message for you in diaspora, that Number one, you must be an organized community. You have no choice about it. I repeat, and tell your friends wherever they are, and all of you that are watching me all over the world, whatever time you are in, I am telling you, for you to survive, you must, and I repeat and use the word must, get organized as a community. History has a testimony of communities and nations that survived through their organization. One, it must be an intentional living. When you live in Europe, live in this continent of Sino-Asia, I want to tell you, my friends, that as you live in this continent, they call it the southern, is it the south of the south? Is that, how do you describe this subcontinent? How do you call it?
Down under.
Yeah, you call it in the south.
Down under.
As you live in the south, I want to tell you, live intentionally with destiny in mind. That's my topic tonight, so that it can organize my thoughts. Having been in public and speaking, you tend to speak everything when it is not necessary. I am organizing my thoughts around this theme, living intentionally with a destiny in mind. I want to give a case study, not as an academic exercise, but as a motivational reference about the Jewish people as a classic diaspora. A political analyst by the name Daniel J. Elazar, in his findings analyzing the political reasons why Israel, the Jewish nation, was persecuted more than any nation in the world over a long time, and yet it survived. For 3,500 years, after serving for 400 years as slaves in the land of Egypt, Israel went through many other thousands of years, 2,500 to be specific, according to historians. Israel went through a lot of persecution, but yet they survived. May I read an excerpt of his research? Would you allow me then? I want to present some of the in-depth, so that when we address some of the challenges we face because of the modern fourth industrial revolution impact of digital world and what it is doing to families and lives of individuals, I'm going to mention it in passing in the interest of those who need help in the society, that things which are outside you are dictating the kind of behavior you may adopt, sometimes to your detrimental impact and sometimes to your progression. Allow me to quote just an example. Quote, "There is little doubt that the Jewish people represents the classic diaspora phenomenon of all time." Are you considering yourself as members in diaspora from your communities? Is that true? I want to give you a classic community and nation that survived over time, and it is a classic one. He continued, and I quote, "Indeed, it seems that the term diaspora itself originated to describe the Jewish condition. The Jewish diaspora has existed for at least 2,600 years. And if certain local traditions are accurate, perhaps even longer, it has existed alongside a functioning Jewish state. And for almost precisely 2,000 years, without any state recognized as politically independent. Moreover, for 1,500 years, the Jewish people existed without an effective political center in their national territory. That is to say, exclusively as a diaspora community, so much so that the institutions of the Jewish community in Emeritus, Israel, were themselves modeled after those of the diaspora, and the Jews functional as a diaspora community within their own land. Finally, nevertheless, the Jewish people not only preserve their integrity as an ethno-religious community, but continue to function as a polity throughout their long history through the various conditions of state and diaspora. End of quote. Listen to me, my brothers and sisters. The Jewish nation became the most persecuted nation on earth between the year BC 500, when I'm going to read the scripture referring to that. Israel has gone through many persecution, rejection, being uprooted from their own country, their own nation. They have been exiled. They have been dominated by big powers, the Babylonian Empire, the Persian Empire, the Grecian Empire, and the Roman Empire. Finally, they came back to their country in 1948. They came back to the Middle East to settle as a nation. Today, for every one Jew, there are 5 enemies, but it is still surviving as a country and the promise that God gave it to them. I want to say this. Their secret is within what these historians say. And I want to give you some few meanings of words. One, divining ethno-religious group. It means, in general, that ethno-religious communities define their ethnic identity by both ancestral heritage and religious affiliation. What can protect and preserve a people is cultural heritage. 2, religious identity. I want to repeat it again. When you become colorless, you belong to nothing. You can as well be divine as nothing. That you can be anything, anywhere, anytime. You are reducing your humanness and you are denied of your identity. A friend of mine told me at the arising of ISIS, when the young daughters in Britain, Great Britain, where the sun never sets as an empire, when you are in the south, it is shining on the great United Kingdom. He told me, we are surprised, that the young girls from a developed world, advanced technology, would rush to Syria and Lebanon and join our brothers, the Muslims, and join ISIS to be their wives, to carry swords, and join that group. According to European psychology, they wondered, what is wrong with our children? There is something wrong. If you deny a people identity, they themselves, if they lack a culture and identity that directs their behavior and defines who they are, they will end up eating up themselves as a people. If you lack identity, you will destroy yourself in the midst of great civilization in this great continent. You will become a waste. You will even lose your direction. You don't know why you are in this country. You can't even remember that your poor mother in Africa, who had to sacrifice all to make sure that you are in Melbourne, in Sydney, in which other city? All the states of this country, that one day Gerono will be coming home, Kiptum will be coming home, and we will be waiting for her at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport or Eldoret International Airport, Moi International Airport, or Kisumu, so that the mama who has had her foot in a slipper type of shoes, spreading the toes, because nothing brought back them, because it was spread by poverty. They think Gerono will come home, and when she will be coming, she will bring a shoe that will return all the toes together like that of a human being. And you are dead. You are destroyed in this country. I have come with a prayer and goodwill for you, that God will use Taunet Ne Lel to raise you up from the dunghill into sitting with kings, and rise up from your despair and become hopeful. Ethno-religious group usually has a shared history and cultural traditions of their own, sometimes referred to as a form of religion. People could got to have something that binds them together. I want to tell you, if God will change his idea about the second coming of Christ, there is no hell, there is no heaven, I will still choose Christianity as a club, because it makes sense from the day I became a Christian and changed me to be a man. Look at me, my friend. I'm a product of that faith. Do I look stupid? Am I not a man enough? Don't you listen to me? I'm an intellectual being. I have a hell of a brain. Don't you hear me? I'm not a dancer. But this is what the Savior did when he came into my life. Changed me in my generation. Put me on the pedestal of makers of history. Nobody can ignore me, my generation. You may ignore me because I don't belong to your generation. And I may not make sense because I don't need to make it anyway. I've done it already. That's why you have Emmy around. That makes sense. And truly I am the father, by the way. You don't ask. You say, was it not? Yes. Aquanita, Aquanata. Ladies and gentlemen, the second thing that I want to mention in terms of divination of words before I conclude is destiny. Somebody said, and I listened to that without identity there is no destiny. If you cannot identify yourself, you don't know who you are. You've got no destiny, my friend. You are available to disintegrate and be swept by stronger characters into the sea of oblivion and disappear into the rubbish pit of history. No one will revive you. You will disappear just like Kipepeo. Let me tell you, my friend, if you want to have a destiny, you must have an identity. So, no identity, no destiny. I repeat it again. No identity, no destiny. I repeat it again. Listen to me. I repeat it again. You don't have to remember me, but remember this after I've left. A person's destiny is everything. Listen to that. A person's destiny, this is how sociologists and anthropologists have concluded after many research. I've read a book by Professor Howard Gardner. I like some of his books. He's one of the anthropologists, a professor at Harvard University for many years, actually for over 50 years. He wrote a book, amongst the many books he has written, I recommend you read it, The Leading Minds. And he mentioned 11 characters, including Mahatma Gandhi, the black American activist, Reverend Martin Luther, he referred to a woman by the name Margaret Meads, who was an anthropologist who worked in the Central America. He mentioned also Margaret Thatcher. In his book, Destiny, The Leading Minds, he said this: leadership is necessary in divining our people in every generation. And I wish to quote in his book. He said, all societies remains among us groups, not until leadership comes to provide definition. When I was sitting there as I watched Ruta and his team, and as I saw you coming to sing and say Adelaide, you talk about Melbourne, you talk about Sydney. This is what leadership does. Thank you, son, for coming out. Until leadership comes to provide definition. The same book says the history of the world is not about common men, but it is about leaders as they divine their generation. Friends, I wish to say this while remembering this great writer, that every generation has an agenda for itself, and there are leaders to provide leadership to define that agenda. When God raises one from Melbourne, raises two, raises three in Adelaide, did you say Canberra? Did you say which other cities? And in Diaspora, my friends, gravitate around a leader, gravitate around leadership. Therein shall be your potential that will be exposed and produce out, and you will find the best of you if leadership is available. So don't be jealousy. Don't feel a victim when he calls you. It is a necessary agent of change and transformation in your leadership, in your life. You can be better if you gravitate around. Every generation needs a gravitas area. And thank you, Ruta, and all your teams. Sarah, who took care of us yesterday with Ruta, made us comfortable, and she really spoke to us, and we felt at home by having her. May God bless you, the leadership of the Taunet Ne Lel. A person's destiny is everything that happens during your lifetime, and including what will happen in the future. It's also about the end. In his book, 7 Habits, a man, an effective leadership, remember, Stephen Covey said, number 1, I'm giving you 3. 1, you must be proactive in your life. Don't sit there until someone moves you. Be productive. Be innovative. Proactive. Be innovative. Be creative. Think outside the box. Don't be a victim of just giving up. When the door is closed here, there is another door on the other side. If I sat down in my time and say, I've lost my legs, Jackson, you are Bure Kabisa. In fact, I remember Nel in 1969, who told me you will stay around the house until you die. You will not go anywhere. If I listen to that person, I will not be in Melbourne tonight. A story is told in the book of Kings in the Bible that there were 4 lepers, and there was a great famine in Israel. And because nobody was getting into the city and no one could go out, they could not get arms. They could not be assisted. And they asked a question one day, why sit here till we die? And they rose up one morning and said, if we go to the city, we will die with those who are dying because they have no hope. They said, let us rise up and go where the enemy is. Those who are threatening us are, if they spare us, we will get food. If they kill us, we will die anyway. When they rose up, in a decision of rising up, it is honored by God in all eternity. When you rise up, God's company joins you and creates opportunity for you. You will be surprised by the potential that you have. Rise up! Don't sit till you die. I know some of you, because of some challenges you encountered in Australia. When you came, you thought it was a land of honey and milk, and it is easy living. So you came as a lazy boy and lazy woman, and you thought this country is reigning with money. And even you forgot that you came here to do a course that would help you. You became a loiterer around and slept without remembering to wake up. This country, for you to leave, my friend, you got to work. In Africa. Mami ne bure nengi je bor mo mami ga kamaje la kwane nyole ka komose mami ga komose boli niko biri kita nemenge. The policies of opening their borders for you to come is guided by knowledge and intention of the nation. There is when they open a door for Africa, the Commonwealth nations that speaks English from Asia, from Pacific, when they allow them to come to this country, it is not by chance. It is by a state policy. They are targeting a certain product that cannot be done by the citizens of this country. They believe they can import labor to be able to do it in the interest of sustainability of this nation. If you cannot meet that standard, prepare yourself for 4 things. Number 1, to become a homeless person in this country. Number 2, to be deported back to your country. Number 3, to bury your head in things, in deception, the things that can destroy you. You become a drug addict so that you escape reason. You are trying to create a reason to be absent from reality and reduce yourself to a zombie so that you create an excuse of being sympathized with. 4, you commit suicide. You take your life. Nakwenda nyumbani. You wait for others there as they come. Or 5, you rise up and take advantage of your potential and change your direction, and God will lift you up because you have a community of Taunet Ne Lel near you. They will pray for you, they will support you, they will help you, and you rise up again and you begin a new beginning, and God will change everything. Take my words seriously. My tummy jigo we a tum again. I'm a wooden jiggy, if you have no value that you are adding to this society, they will revisit the laws of immigration to make sure that they shut you up. For example, they got children in an environment where their grandfathers worked very hard to develop the physical infrastructure to make this country great. Their sons and grandsons became lazy, and their fathers are aging. Nobody to run the country, and all developmental infrastructure in the nation, which requires the strength. The jungle. So spoiled brats who la opera vicere quando vai a quella tamu kununyale da onge no legia gas quando tu ino tamburu kuchopite ne magari yo quando akopana ni kwanne munge yebu sele na sege oni kira. You hear what I'm saying? It's only me who's allowed to say that, because I'm your father, I'm your grandfather, I'm your elder brother if you are anywhere near me. But I want to tell you this. Big Kalenjin, King and Big Krog and Mugul for 4 things. We have what we call a national and community bride. We don't make decisions because of some short-term interest. We make decisions based on our bride. Yagage mwa, kogage mwa, ngoya, faya, kongogararan, kogararan. Kita Kalenjin ko we are poor liars. We don't know how to say a lie. Gijin kita Kalenjin ko gijin ko lie. Kongara Kalenjin aray majene. Ina lagamo yan, kolaga is aray majene. So you women don't push your brothers so much. Ela Kalenjin ko ya aray majene ina lagamo ki parageta. Because we are poor liars. Are you still with me? Are you still listening? Yes. We are known for 4 things. 1, we are very courageous and brave people. Ajego ginyogone, magimwe, yagage betum, koma gimwe kimwengeti. Sige istameta andi komanda. Kwega iwe tum ge atete ngo chita Kalenjin komanyogo. We are brave. We are a brave society. Aya se negi si tu bajede le to te ne mi aje cosa ne ngi ware o mai ko tunda e der lakini pure le ta fare ni manyiran ngi ger wonda imwe ko ne ki kede amuji ta ne sabe de ko ger gor ge ngi tum ko la de pure ne tema. You know women, even though they show feminism, I can't know you. Women come je pure ne ngi pure mele nango chei turi de interior. We are known for prayer. Number 2, we are honest. Ache kung magiting ang onggong nat, magiachini ki Allah set agal betes. Ache ko gi honest. Ya ko ya. Kaya ganaran, ulyo. Ako kasi. Can I still speak that in English? Want me to say that in English? Be honest. And that is why the Yata will get you are more men or Jambili. Omi Wuran Yamugi anthropological study. Come on, you read and never read, Negi by way. The last governor, if you want to rule Kenya, what are the factors that you need to consider? Well, number 1, and which community come on again by say Kenya, or you say one, Kenya, Kenya, Netai, Ugorieta, Ugoy, Kenya, the most governable society. And we can Kotilen Gobo to Tipwa, their interest, they kill their interest. Number 2, we are Kalenjin. Kalenjin is the most ungovernable society, but the most honest and trusted. Because they make their decision based on their pride. Yaga mali dita Kalenjin kogere rengai ngumi asara anago faida. Kole ikue. Asa Kalenjin. Ngoyang kole pum anu mali me. Anu lenge ba ngumi me. Kole jita Kalenjin pum. Haile matungebe ni kutulwe. Banda. Nyanara miege. Nyanara matyam ginge negiten tege tarami negi amarte tenege. Hiko. Ile matunonga tuju gari nigi. Banda. That's how Are you listening to me? Sigi yanako because you are honest. Number 2, you are faithful. Yagilejin yayi agi yanile ayaye hiya ni kita Kalenjin gele inyonyo rubote bienyo. You can be trusted. Nebale pinge personal bride. Mene gole taramu ayayi sumagurarecho. Anyway, over the years something has developed. Embikyo usigegena ko. Itu nyala sebutin the diaspora. Kwage ngeni ni yolo go nyo emani ko nget ko ndan mo Ko ba ki mi ke. Ka so ma besigen ngat ko kita boren tupchegu ta ba kita Kalenjin na ga go baru yan agi beru agi tare ne baru ngo ba ulen. Engel. Are you still with me? Call me that you must have what Stephen Covey mentioned. So I've just mentioned one, and allow me to mention two, and I'm not elaborating. The second one is say, think win-win in life. All the time when you are making an argument, remember to be on the side of the one you are arguing with. And begin to feel for that person so that you have a win-win. So all the time, don't demand your way. That is how to sustain marriages. The reason why we marry and stay within marriage is not because it is pleasurable, but because it is the right thing. We need therefore to have a win-win. If you argue with your husband and be on the other side. How do you expect him? How would you have expected him to expect of you? And if you are arguing with your wife, be on our side and think that way. So think win-win for you to survive here. Money, when you to Bagasi said, you look in the and look at out. I went to the Logan the game and I got married. It don't make him only one that I was in a way. One day about the Marines and in a boy, in a Batina Genoa, in a Batina one, did not take up one way at him. Law, would you mammy Murena, and I was in a Murena. How are you talking? Wabi, was it Muren? In the Mage, of his way, Miss Wendy. Well, I don't know, you let you go away. I give Jelly, I will allow you to give again that you move. They go and if you some way, you have your stretch marks of birth. You are an honorable woman. I think it's some way, you have my, it was easy. We want to let take us up with the Sabbath medal. I'm going to go over it, make you a moment. What are you doing? Mammy Murene, then I'm a sweat, I'm Murene, a Murrieta college. Mamure Murena, Murene, a sweat. The Gion to Mursue, Ogaro, Amu Murinsue, Kogi kitten was on me here. Oh, wait, I have more than I'm sweat, so you're there. Có dịp ta chung để chăm ta có mua đến suy có mua đến không có tin gì mua đến ở đây mua đến suy chen mà đến thì ta cái đồ cái có siêu có chỉ cái này thua em mà cho có bé cũng đi có mua cái suy em này là bé cũng đi cho you will give them only 2 decades and they are no longer there. They will disappear into the rubbish pit of history. I don't care what you like, what you want to do behind the curtain. Go and do it. But remember this. Mureneta Kalenjin Community swear. Avargeta Kalenjin Community Vargeta swear. Murin Murena. Nega Murin. Ogarongo Sere. Aromale la Jevagila. Pois, aron wailing this. Aha. Ite vede gure nyabus. Aha. Sere jeptanyu, sere maitanyu. Can I conclude there? Can I tell you what is remaining to go? Yes. Wow. I am saying, Kosgei said, and I still quote, but the final thing is that, and then the others you can read for yourself, the remaining 4. The last one. He said, before you do anything, before you make any decision, have the end in mind. When you begin a quarrel, ask yourself, what is the end game? We got two where will you receive me? A gentleman, one day a lady was passing by and the man said, lady, can I greet you? I really love you. And she looked at her and began to weep and go. So she went ahead. While she was ahead, the gentleman told everybody, you see? Tick. So there was an older man who was working on his walking stick. He laughed and said, gentlemen, I want to advise you. I think you are dead wrong. I said, how? I said, follow her and ask her why she laughed. Interesting, when he met her, he said, why did you laugh? She said, because I had many questions than answers from you. One, so the man looked down and came slowly. and then everybody would say, tell us a story. He said, no. My friends, before you make any decision, have the end in your mind. Even as you decide in this country, make your decisions having the end in mind. Therefore, the Bible talks about two types of destinies. Number one is what some of us could say sometimes, I am a master of my own destiny. The Bible many years ago, in the words of Solomon, is said in the book of Proverbs that Proverbs 23:12, it says, 23:12, masters of your own destiny. No, 26:12. I'm reading from Amplified Bible. It says, quote, do you see a man who is unteachable, and that is in bracket, who is wise in his own eyes and full of self-conceit? There is more hope for a fool than for him. Anyone who comes to this country and says, I am a master of my own destiny, better is a fool than him, because his destruction is imminent. All people who have progressed in life are people who listen to others, and they can surrender to others to teach them. When you come to Australia, look for brothers and sisters who have progressed and join them. Don't join them who have chosen the way of getting lost. And it is important you make your organizations known, so that, chairman, when we are sending children to come to this country, you are the ones receiving them at the airport. So the first thing you do is to orientate them on how to live in this country. Don't allow someone who comes from the club, who has been converted into a sex worker, taken advantage of because of our own desperate life. She doesn't like, he doesn't like, but he has no way of doing it. He's the one taking that child at the airport because he will recruit that particular person into that movie. I'm asking you, why I have come and joined you is because your organization is very important in saving the future generation. Wow. Also, to be wise in your own eyes means you think your understanding is the best above all others. You must appreciate, and for me to grow, you can see I'm quoting from other people. I appreciate other thinkers who have been on this way. I'm not the only one. I'm not the inventor. In fact, what I'm saying today was said by my grandparents many years ago in their own ways. They were not stupid. That is why we are still alive today. We are still there as a community. My friends, the second thing is what we call divine destiny, given by God to humanity. If God is controlling your destiny, then the spiritual destiny within you will guide you when God is leading your steps one by after another. In Psalms 37, 2 to 7, this is what David said. That the steps of a good man and a good woman are ordered by the Lord, and he delights in his way. Listen to this. Though he fall, because doesn't mean we are perfect. Though he falls, he shall not be utterly cast down, for the Lord upholds him with his hand. And he said, David, I have been young and now I'm old. Yet I've never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his descendants begging bread. I speak the same words to you, my sons and daughters. May God uphold you in all your challenges in this country. May he uphold you and be like David, that you were young and one day you will be old, and you will have never seen the righteous left by God, nor their children beg bread. I'm speaking to your children. May God prosper you, that you produce children, and those whom you have, God will feed them, will enable you not to miss bread on the table of your house until your old age as you exit this world. You need to have a destiny. You need to have a destiny. My friends, I wish to conclude by mentioning the following to you. Number one, if you have to have a destiny, you must be aware that believing in materialism is a false premise and policy for your life. Materialism is not the only thing you need. You require more than money. Therefore, don't overwork your futile life until you forget yourself. One of the greatest challenges of this generation is what we call self-neglect. Soon you lose yourself, you neglect yourself, and you disintegrate. When you are locking in, locking out, I know some problems that are forcing you to do more than necessary. Some of them which are known. Number one is mismanagement of your resources. You are wasteful in your life. You are not organized. That you earn your salary, you earn your money the first day. In the second day, you no longer have anything. You are begging. Disorganization. Have a financial discipline on how you manage your money and learn from the best practices of others. Number two, I know what forces you to work more than it is necessary is the pressure we give you from home. And we are asking you, mama fulani amejengewa na mtoto yake, mama fulani amenunuliwa gari, mama fulani amenunuliwa shamba, wewe ukumbuki tuligusia shamba, and they give you unnecessary pressure. Come on, get organized. You must meet your bills first. Make sure you can maintain yourself in this country. Don't mind about us. Even if we don't build a house, we will live in Kenya and we will survive. It is you. If you don't have money, your house will be closed the following day. Come on, my son. I speak on behalf of your fathers and mothers who have not visited here and they don't know what is happening. And they are listening to me right now as I tell you this. I'm not being brutal to them, but I'm being realistic to you. Come on, maintain yourself, first of all, to be able to live in this country in comfort. Are you hearing me? The third, which is pushing you, is your lifestyle. If you run around and get some lazy women, and by accident, they use their assets, and something happens, soon, you are a minority, my friend, before the laws. Soon, you are being demanded for upkeep. So you must log in 3 times, 4 times, one for maintaining. A certain lady who tells you, you will be seeing Vichesa, 14. Iri vanuni iri moe, isi kerere, iri kerere, iri kame, iri log in, log out. Ngomaja chumbinwe, amugi we akete, sangeni, ngomaja chumbinwe, ngomaja chonga keche, tu obet laine ngoron. They have locked in and locked you out until you are losing balance in your life. Control yourself if you want to survive, my friend. Take one woman. It is not expensive to stay with one and be loyal to one another. It is really affordable. When you begin you will look in more than necessary. Are you hearing me? I found a lot of them in another continent. I think you are better here. I think you are better here. And keep on like that. Be better. Don't be cheated. Materialism is not the key. But Albert Einstein said, and he was a scientist, that without ethical law, there is no salvation for humanity. Second, without direction, it means you are undermining your purpose in life. If you do not have a direction, you will be undermining your purpose in life. So you must be committed. That is about destiny, that you got a purpose that you are living for. There is what we call universal purpose of your existence on earth. My father told me there are 3 things that matters and you can die for. Number 1 is freedom. Number 2 is dignity. And number 3 is family. I asked him, Dad, he was a military officer in World War II. I asked him, why family? He said, because family is the epicenter of human preservation. It is about preserving humanity. And he told me, son, you will be morally guilty if you are presiding over the extinction of your family, or your clan, or your society. You are morally guilty. And he said it was handed over by Boyot, Arab Pirwo, Engin Negisi Jawi, Pundotik, Arab Parab, Engin to be Bogamitma, and then Gosichon. Usiene, Arab Kagos. Where Osijina the Maru, Marehemu, Joshua, Kipto, Aquerik to Nasubi. I am telling you, never preside over the extinction of our family. Ngoyapta silangwe, uyegi yokwe ni sekchegi bogen, ngoyapta ni bidammo, kotko ikilago gablago kwa, otatungwai petu ne itu mungu. Are you still with me? Yes. I say 3 things matter. One, freedom. Second, dignity. Third, family. Right? Are you hearing me? Also, I'm concluding with these words. The joy, there is joy in discerning destiny because it will calm your anxiety. When you have destiny, you will not be restless in your life. You will be peaceful. You will live a life with a lot of pride in what you are. When one discerns destiny in life, it ignites a fire of pride. You do everything with pride. You know, that discernment of destiny, you will see even the way he eats. Even the way he dresses, the way he grooms himself or herself. You will see the way you speak louder is in your dressing, the way you appear, the way you, if you are a hopeless man, hopeless woman, you will hit in a very hopeless way. You behave in a hopeless way. You sit like a hopeless person. And you behave hopeless man. And then there is this person who have a purpose he has discerned. When she walks across the aisle, the eyes are fallen from the left. And then they pretend they didn't see, and you can see this person has hope. This person knows something. When I move with my wheelchair around, you forget I am physically a child. And you want to know what kind of a person is this? Because I'm demonstrating hope. My friends, when you have destiny in life, it motivates your resilience. You are determined to win. You are determined to win. There is no statement ever made by Winston Churchill like the one he made in 1941 when the Germans were facing Britain. And this is what they say: never, never, never give up. He went to a school he had attended when he was young, and he was asked, one thing can you say? He said in October 29, 1941, never, 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 never give up. No. Destiny gives you resilience. I have come to speak to you in Diaspora. And I want to give you the book of Jeremiah in conclusion. Living with great resilience. In the year 529 BC, or thereabout, the children of Israel were in diaspora, and they were in Babylon. He wrote this letter, and I wish to share with you, my brothers and sisters, my sons and daughters in diaspora today. Here in Melbourne, and those in New York, and those who are in Reading in England, those who are in UK, those who are in Singapore, those of us in West Africa, those of us who are listening in Bahamas, they have always been writing back. I'm writing this, I'm reading this to you. This letter, 3,000 years later, still true, because it is anchored on God. In the book of Jeremiah 29 verse 4, reading to 11, and this is what I'm concluding with, Sarah. I'm not taking more than that. The Bible says, quote, "Thus says the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, to all the exiles." Then it used to be servants and masters. But this one, the word exile, is because they were forcefully removed. But you see, that force can come from plantation and sanitation also. And it can force you out of your country. And you say, Bishop, Kaiwa Togeji and Olimpasanga, Mamuji Nyame Migai, Soiwa, Yani is forced into exile by poverty. And then he lives in diaspora. This is the letter to them. Those who ran away from home by choice or by force. Thus says the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, to all the exiles whom I have sent into exile from Jerusalem to Babylon. Build houses and live in them. Plant gardens and eat their produce. Take wives and have sons and daughters. Marry them. Take wives for your sons and give your daughters in marriage, that they may bear sons and daughters, multiply there and do not decrease. 7. But seek the welfare of the city where I have sent you in exile, and pray to the Lord on its behalf, for in its welfare you will find your welfare. Number 8. For thus says the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, do not let your prophets and your diviners who are among you deceive you. Do not listen to the dreams that they dream, for it is a lie that they are prophesying to you in my name. Do not send them, declares the Lord. Finally, for thus says the Lord, when 70 years are completed for Babylon, I will visit you, and I will fulfill to you the promise, my promise, and bring you back to this place. That was specific for the nation of Israel, but there is an underlying truth that is surpassing the land of Israel. Number 11, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you. Come on, brothers in diaspora, to give you a future and a hope. 1, in diaspora, faith in God should become your anchorage. He is the God of all hosts. He has the strength to lift you up and to keep you and your families safe for the years you will be in this country. Did you hear what I said? I said God will be, faith in God becomes an anchorage that will sustain you. Amoistege ngaporosutab Jehovah o yunjinge kaporosutab Jehovah emolomenye enengana sok tugul jeba emoni amoistoenge yoto asogana mak uma was not kali amwa mate roto or watching God ab Jehovah amurigo. Kali otevise api cheyanemu big cheimamu Jehovah nengi tuirire kole chenje kru mamengi mi Jehovah barak moite kali otevi api kwak cheire nen mesubate isubin jokta ne babi chema magenengi gi ne sigenengi Kogaron Mamigieva, go to Timbatai. See, Tevigityogisangende in the highway of history. Casa of me, Kala Utevi up to Putin. Kaya Gogeringon, Kita Lechamin, Kusir Gomututin, Kita Nesasit. That is a rebuke from someone who values you more than a kiss of one who doesn't mind about you. You are as good as what you can produce. You can go to hell when you have no value. Kali, kaya kita negeri ko. Aku jamin, Così che segni nel giorno a mommi che ne si chiede, io mi mommi che ne si chiede, o tutte le battaglie che già sai, o te vi ho tutto se può. O te vi ho tutte, o te vi ho picce pure negli. A suo quando potete tutta la mia non la terra. Con voi mi sa. Kotoma atacha man ko ko conclude ko gamwa you may be seated. Kile Jeremiah barwe create wealth for yourself. Some of you may not come back to Africa. This will not be only the land that you will raise your families and build your wealth, but it might be your home for retirement, and from here express to heaven, and the others express to hell. We need you. Mana ji oleh terjadi kasih tuan, mau mungkin itu soalnya boleh memang. Doing investment. That is why the Bible talks about planting gardens. Number 3, remember to self-preserve as a society. And the only thing that will self-preserve you is family. Raise your families. Pakai TV, juga dia lewat. Bukan kalau boleh jadi roman ini hanya dia. Amu meterlalu jual, oiji juta. Amu ini mutua beri kau TV. Yaitu Tunisia beri. Ada ji untung gosegi, anak kecil ni, beribad lagi. Lagi untung kanam ni, ambo mi untung, 6 juta. So atas ni, siapa cuma ni jangan, apa mau tu jangan, kalau boleh hit, seroni tu, seroni. Atas siapa cuma ni jangan. Agar kalau malam ni dia orang tu sebab nak buat apa ni kami bicara nanti. What country did you come from? Namibia? Zimbabwe. She has a daughter, another. Don't let them go. Bring them to Nairobi. The community. We were then my corner time to the young. We went your gerund to the young. Hello to the city. Morgan will listen to your mother to this year. When you arrive home, we will tell you something. While you are away, life continues. Apa cakap aku? Betul. Nak usah dia beremar. Itu itu. Awak kibrodo di mana coba ugibo tunis. Ara igi tapi Europe iganya mau kalau tak itu Kanada. Itu mau sesuatu apa? Kalau tak boleh citizen coba Australia, kau tunggu kemudian Kenya, Australia, sini yo. Pulau tadi, Obama, Barack Obama. Pergi masuk mereka pergi ngeter besar, oleh yang pondok. Nanti kita tu mengkita dalam itu. Kalau disuruh from our university, we will do whom are you electing this year? We are going to elect this boy with a funny name. Kalau ini kau, untuk Tunisia deh, kau kasih lalu. gitu no taga wa ke tanyo ni se ba yo te me ba so mani ni to si ko mo to ko lagene make it a constructive official engagement that makes you a wife, makes you a husband with recognition, so that law protects you and you live not cohabiting but come out. You are adult people and make decisions without fear, because you don't have two lives. You are not on rehearsal. You are actually living your lives here. You are not rehearsing so that one day you will come back and live your life. I'm telling you, live your life. Because when you come back to Nairobi, we will tell you the truth. While you are away, we continue. In fact, you will not recognize Nairobi anymore. We are, in fact, one of the tallest buildings in Africa is coming up in Upper Hill. My friend, you will not know whether you are in Nairobi. While you are away, you continue to be away. My friend, but we will call some of you to become governors, to become MPs. We will call you. When we need you, we will call you. While you are away, what happened? Life continued. Also, guard yourself against deception. Alcohol is not a solution. Drugs is not a solution. Those are temporary excuse of excusing yourself away from your responsibility. In 1966, after the Great Famine, I was a young boy. My uncle gave me the traditional brew the first time in the evening, and I took it. It was traditional brew. When my mother was coming home in the evening, I wondered the fireplace had gone up. Then I asked her, why is the fireplace up there in the sky today? She was surprised. And then I slept. When I woke up in the morning, 1966, I asked Mama, what happened yesterday? She told me, you got drunk. If you get drunk, the fireplace will go where? I left all the standing and left your woman. I left it. And that is why I told you. Don't go for deception. Remember, tough times will not last. And there is hope for the future. May God bless you and lift you up in diaspora. May God guide you all the days of your life. Thank you.